Hey, it's been a long time since I've been up. It's almost the inaugural flight of one of my first videos I stuck up, the paramotor flight to the private lake. I'm gonna try to do that again today as it's almost getting to Christmas time. We've got a no wind day finally. I've been on vacation and then bad weather. It's been about a month, a little over a month. So got everything laid out here. We'll get the paramotor cranked up and head on out. So initial warm up here. Clear prop. Alright, so here's my takeoff. It's forward launch weather, but something didn't go quite right here. I had a little gust or something and my wing whipped around and shut the motor off, and time to start again. Although in typical me fashion, I forgot to hit the button before I started the next flight. You notice I had the engine cut off there a little bit. I was trying to make sure that the GoPro wasn't already on, so you can hear the beeps from the GoPro. And so what I did was I shut the motor off at a safe place, hit the button, made sure I heard the coming on beeps and not the going off beeps, because half the time I've lost all my footage by hitting the button when I think it's on, and I turn it off or turn it off when I think it's on. Either way. So just wanted to make sure that I could hear it. Also, I took a chance to turn my strobe on the back of my helmet, and it worked pretty good as well. So, like I said, again, here I'm gonna go fly to this private lake, just like I did almost exactly 1 year ago. This is Garner Lake in Lakeland, Tennessee, which is just east of Memphis up I-40. And this is a completely private lake, so I don't know how they really feel about me coming and buzzing around, but hey, nobody's said anything so far that I know of. So it's been, like I said, pretty bad weather-wise, and I just haven't had a chance to get flying again, so thanks for sticking with me and coming back up with me when we fly again. It's been like a month since me and my wife went to Hawaii and dropped the kids off with the grandparents, and then when we came back, the rainy season had started here, so it had been rainy and super windy, like 20-mile-an-hour winds every day forecasted. So it's been pretty rough trying to get back up. Haven't been up in the mornings with my buddy Chad at any time here recently, so hopefully we'll get out before the weather turns back sour again. So the last time I flew on this lake, I stayed right there on that causeway. I was pretty much it was pretty much my novice flying time. I had maybe 5 or 6 good flights by myself under my belt. I still wasn't really trusting the motor I had, and now seeing the engine out that happened in April, thank goodness I didn't fully trust it. This new Nitro 200 though I trust pretty well, so kind of getting a little more gutsy here and flying over the water. Not too far from the land, I could still make it over there if I need to, but a little more trusting. Although I do tell myself here as I'm flying along, you know, what am I going to do if this engine goes out? What am I going to unclip? Going to unclip my seat belt, etc., to make sure I can get out of this thing. Hopefully it'll float a little bit, but I don't want to be stuck in this thing as it may sink. So you may have noticed I stuck those floats on there. That's kind of in hopes that this thing is recoverable should I jump out of it in the water. I would hate for it to go down 100 feet down to the bottom of this lake, which I believe it's something like that. It's pretty deep. Kind of fun fact, Elvis has visited some of these homes around here, and this place was kind of like an amusement park at some point before I think all the houses were there, and he came and sang, and there was quite a few other people that came and sang at some of these. It was like a lodge houses that were over here. So there's like a historical house right there on the point, kind of right in front of me, that some people we know from church have purchased, and so it has like a historical marker on it and such, and says who all these famous folks have come by and sang at this house. So it's right there on the right, that house right on that point down there. So another big change for me, you may have noticed some of the intro styles and things have changed. You noticed in the video past, I got an iPhone. That's my first iPhone that I've owned, and I've kind of been enjoying it. Things work pretty well compared to the Android stuff. Definitely a little more usable, so it's kind of neat in that department. And then having the iPhone has made me also want to be able to use a lot of the features that the Mac OS comes with, and using the AirDrop features, etc., things like that. So I ended up going out and purchasing a MacBook Pro. It's a 2013. I wasn't going to go sink $1,500, $2,000 in on a new one, and I wasn't quite sure how I'd like it. Turns out I like it a lot, and Final Cut Pro 10 or X FCPX, this is fantastic compared to what I was using before. And it's amazing how such a smaller machine can do more editing and faster editing than my big laptop with the big i7 in it and the big graphics card. However, if I had Adobe Premiere, which I've had in the past on this other laptop, I wouldn't have had so much issue. But I don't like that whole subscription model where you pay 20 bucks a month forever. You never stop paying for it. You never own the program. That kind of bugs me. So I went in and got Final Cut Pro. I'm on this laptop here, and it's just chugging along using the graphics card rendering. So I'm really enjoying that and just kind of learning the program here. It's not too hard to transition from the other programs. I've used Adobe Premiere, Magix, iMovie, but there's quite a lot more to this program. There's a lot more shortcuts you can do. There's a lot more transitions built in. There's a lot more free things that you can download, free packets for lighting effects and sound effects, things like that. Granted, it's not a free program, but once you've paid for it, you've paid for it, and you don't have to keep paying for it every time. So 1 year's worth of Adobe Premiere, you pretty much already bought Final Cut Pro for life. So enjoying that. So I kind of sped up the footage on the way back here to the park, and this is my usual landing spot. So I'm kind of coming in. I thought my wife and kids had come over there, and so I kind of decided to go buzz where I was flying down there in that soccer field. Turns out it wasn't them, but it was getting pretty dark by this time. The camera is actually overexposing it here, so it's darker to me than what this camera footage looks like. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the flight time with me here, and try not to make these videos too long. It's been over a month since I had been flying, so you get that butterfly feeling all in your stomach again, and it's probably the most fun thing I do, period, outside of hanging out with my family. So it's nice to get back up in the air and kind of get the adrenaline going again, and just enjoy beautiful sunset and beautiful weather, and I hope for more of it to come, that's for sure. So here's for me buzzing to see if that was my family. There was a car similar to my wife's car, so turns out it's two guys playing baseball. And also, right after I made this circle here, had kind of a little engine cutout where it seems like when my engine idles for a long time and then I hit the gas, it has like a little air bubble or something in it, so I still need to kind of work that out. Not sure why it does that, but I need to just figure that out and put an end to that. Also, over there in those neighborhoods to the left, I guess some good kids saw me, and it was dark enough that you couldn't tell what it was hanging from this giant parachute. So they weren't sure if this was like some kind of robot thing, or if this was some kind of parachute airdrop supplies, or what. So after I landed, the kid comes running over and says, "Were you just flying that thing? Were you scared up there?" And so we chatted for a little bit, and then also the guys playing baseball decided to go ahead and stop me. There we go, I put my speed bar away. I want to make sure I'm not going to trip over that or it doesn't hang down low as the wing comes down. I'd hate to face plant because that thing gets up under my feet. So I went ahead and velcroed it back into the seat. Got the trims where they're supposed to be, and I put the seat looser so that the seat bottom won't keep me from coming out of the chair too much. So I try to get all those things ready before I go down there. Also a change since last year. I no longer pull my trims in tighter than the white lines when I'm landing. I do have more flare authority. People are obviously right who have commented on that before. I can land in a pretty short distance if I pull them in. A lot more weight lands on your legs that way. But white lines, and you can flare nice and long, and it's such an easy touchdown. I'm definitely getting the hang of that pretty well. I wasn't sure if I was going to make this landing, but once it looked right, we cut our on off and glided right in. Try not to get too close to these guys. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you again later.